So Farzi, Amazon Prime's new show by the creators of The Family Man Raj and DK, starring Shahid Kapoor, Vijay Sethupathi and many more, has been out for some time. I'm late to it, but I finally caught up and I'm disappointed. Why is that? Let's talk about it. Hello guys, I'm Nona Prince and I've been looking forward to this series because of Raj and DK. They have a really pretty good track record. But I was not a big fan of the Family Man season 2 ending. And even with this show, I felt it was very uneven, very half-baked. The story was very convoluted. And I feel Raj and DK has put the standard so high that this feels like a very lazy work. It felt like they needed rewriting. The pacing was all over the place. It definitely gets better in the last 3 episodes. But episode 4 is so slow, like you don't know where the story is going. And you know the way the show ended, I was questioning myself, like where did this show begin and where it has ended? It feels so disconnected. Like when you start watching this show, you don't expect it to end here. That's a good thing that it's not predictable, but that's not the problem. It takes the story to somewhere else altogether. The growth doesn't feel organic and natural. I really felt, they had a big potential with the story, with the concept of fake money, counterfeiting, and I feel the problem is they took it too big in the first season itself, and I'm guessing there'll be season 2 because the way the show ended, it is unresolved. I felt they should have taken it gradually. Maybe the first season was just about being in the local area and then you grow up to the national and international level, but we directly jump to the international level to just make it big, but it just doesn't have the same impact. And I feel the biggest issue for me was connecting this to the Family Man universe, because when you do that, you have to make the universes consistent. We have seen 2 seasons of Family Man. We know that world. It feels very real, grounded, serious. And now that you're setting up this story in the same universe, you need to follow the same rules, which doesn't happen. At so many places, logically, it makes no sense. And then thinking about that we are in the same universe as Family Man and Shrikant Tiwari, it feels like how is this even possible? It's unbelievable. Now I would say there are a lot of good moments which are scattered around the 8 episodes which are a drag. I felt the actors brought a lot to the table where their characters didn't have enough meat, but their performance brought something out. Especially with Vijay Sethupathi, Kay Menon, I felt writing wise they were not given enough. But because they are such good actors, they created something out of thin air. Now let's go character by character and I'll be delving into spoilers, so if you have seen the show then only continue watching. So first let's talk about Shahid Kapoor, Sunny. I definitely felt there was potential, but I felt his performance was inconsistent due to multiple factors. First, writing was not strong enough, and second, sometimes shows are not shot linearly, like episode by episode, especially a series like this. So I could tell movements which felt like these are shot before, where the actor doesn't know what has happened to this character beforehand, and then some sequence is really good because he understands what has happened before and what's going to happen after. So I could see the difference of Shahid's grasp on the character through different moments, because in some moments you feel like the character is so unsure, he doesn't know what has happened before, as if he had a memory loss, just like the grandpa. And compared to grandpa, that angle didn't work for me at all. I never had a connection with them. More than that, I was more invested in his backstory with the father, what has happened to him, how he was left behind. I think we'll delve more into that in season 2. And also when the show explores his dark side, there's a moment in the show where he says he doesn't feel guilty that what he's doing, creating fake money, and that was interesting, that he's okay with it. Then the grandpa accusing him that you are just like your father. Those were the more interesting things which I wanted to delve more into. But the whole grandpa angle, I love you, and the whole Kranti press, like first of all, logically it make no sense to me. How are you even running this? Okay, you took loan, but there are so many people working. How are you paying them? You only establish that no one reads your paper. At least establish some people read, so at least some money you are getting, so that you are reinvesting it in the business. But no, I don't know where the money is coming from. Okay, Sunny is selling those paintings, that's why, but why are you still doing it? Like, and if there's so much financial stress, why does he's carrying a bullet, which is expensive bike? So like the setup doesn't feel believable. It doesn't feel rooted and grounded. And you establish Sunny's character, he has his angst against the system, against the society. You're tackling the class difference. And I like that theme, the way they build it up. But it never really became something, because they got diverted with unnecessary storylines which are not interesting at all. And then the whole switch that happens later in the show, suddenly he's a very trained spy. Like it happens out of nowhere. And then at the end, he becomes a trained killer. I'm guessing he has never picked up a gun before in his life, but he's now a sharpshooter. And that you can say, oh, he was so emotional for his grandfather, so he could do it. But for me, that never worked, so it makes no sense. And over that, this is happening in Family Man universe. You are telling me that a guy who's an artist just got a gun and went out, shot multiple people. I know because of these things I'm saying, I felt the show was lazy, because not enough time was spent to clear things out, make sense of everything that's happening, but we were just rushing rushing with the narrative without even thinking about the logic of it happening. But next, coming to Vijay Sethupathi, I felt he was just having fun in Hindi. He was just being himself. I've seen him multiple times do this with his characters. He just likes to play, just create something out of nothing, and you create that comedic scenes. And those were my favorite throughout the season. Him with the minister, oh my god, it was a laugh right every time. And I've again, felt there was no character to him. The only time I felt there's a lot going on with him is when we hear from his subordinate that what has happened with him. What is his backstory? Why he is like that? The whole divorce angle could have been more interesting, but I just didn't care. Again, because, the main story was about the counterfeit notes. And this actually just takes some other direction itself, which I'm not interested in. Whereas his backstory, the tragedy that happened, him getting suspended, losing his partner, that would have been more interesting and could be more connected to the main narrative. And through his character, they were also trying to show how the system works, how they are people who want to give everything for the country, for their work, but the system makes it more difficult for them. And that was definitely interesting to see the workings of everything. The relationship between him and the minister, how things are really happening. It's all about the elections and the publicity and the PR. So it's not that, the show is just bad. There are very interesting things, a lot of potential, but it all just didn't come together. Then coming to Raashii Khanna's character, it was interesting. She's a workaholic. Her mother keeps nagging her about marriage. She goes to meet some people, but it doesn't really work out. Her focus is just on this counterfeiting and she wants to just eradicate it. And it was good to see such a strong female character. But from there we get something very cliche. Shahid comes into her life. It was not like love in first sight, but it just happens so unorganically. Oh, they just met and talked and now they're good friends and they're helping each other and they fall in love. And no, it wasn't that dramatic, which I liked, but it was just too uninventive. Firoz was a great addition to the show, played by Bhuvan Arora. Again with him, he was pretty much the sidekick throughout the narrative. He didn't really have his own character arc, something like that, but he was complementing Shahid well. But at the end, he did fell in that, cliche sidekick friend stereotype. Then we have Kay Menon as a villain again. The actor brought something which was very interesting. Him struggling with the English. We had Regina who played the wife of Vijay Sethupathi. Didn't have much to do. I liked that they didn't show Manoj Bajpayee's character. They're saving it for future. And the way the show ended, we will get a future. So let's see where the story goes. But honestly, it was not a great show for me because the standard is very high for Raj DK and it doesn't really match that. Their show Family Man won the Best Web Series Award at our award function, which we had this year also, and check it out who won this time. You can also check out my video of what went wrong with Family Man Season 2. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this, hit the thumbs up button and I'll see you next time.